Hey guys. So, today I want to talk about some things that I wasn't aware of when I first started my own accounting practice. Now, I think that whenever we start a business, the things that we think move the needle forward actually aren't really that effective. And a lot of the stuff that we've either been taught or we've seen or we heard either online or from, just random piece of advice we've gotten from either successful business owners or even unsuccessful business owners just don't really apply to our business model of accounting and bookkeeping. So I want to kind of, maybe clear up some myths for you, kind of put your mind in the right spot to focus so that it's going to make growing your business a lot easier, both short term and long term. So the first thing that I talked about and that I think about is you don't necessarily need a huge social media following or a lot of content to get clients. Now, for me, when I was first getting started, I thought that I saw people like Grant Cardone or like Tony Robbins, they had like millions of followers, and I assumed that because they had millions of followers, that is why they are wealthy. That's why they're rich. So in order for me to really make any significant money, I have to become this social media person, have a giant following, and make some money. And I was doing stuff where I was like trying to post every single day. Like I'd be like posting on like Facebook or LinkedIn. I'd be doing just videos that were just anything I thought could help regular business owners, and I just made like no traction. And sometimes I get likes or I get views. People are like, oh, this is great content. This is awesome. It's amazing. But none of them would ever sign up with me, and I would never really make any money, right? So for me, it took me about the first time I hit 10K per month was really about. It was about, I believe it was like 12 months in. So it took me about a year, maybe about a year and 2 months to get to 10K per month. But like the first 8 months or so, technically the first 6 months or so, were really like me just like fruitlessly doing stuff. So I was like doing this posting for the first like 2 months. I was just kind of like just doing random stuff. The second 2 months I was kind of trying networking events and stuff. The third 2 months, or months 5 and 6, that's when I started posting on like the social media. I post like 60 days every day. I was trying to do like a live video and stuff like that. And yeah, it wasn't until I really focused on the stuff we're going to talk about further in this video that I really learned this. So you don't need a huge following, right? It's really about learning to get known by the right people, not just a lot of people. Because think about it, if you're trying to sell like monthly accounting and monthly bookkeeping services, you're generally looking for established business owners, right? Because think about it, in order for you to sell $1,000 per month for, we'll say, monthly bookkeeping, you need someone that can afford $1,000 a month and have it not even be a thought process, not even be a factor. In a lot of cases, a lot of business owners, even though their business needs accounting and bookkeeping, a lot of them see it kind of as like a luxury or like a more of an afterthought. Like once I have the sales coming in, once I have the volume, once I have this, then I will go and get accounting. Then I'll go and get bookkeeping, right? Now, if we're talking about just tax prep, okay, some of them are going to get it like right away because they feel like they have to by like law. But when it comes to accounting and bookkeeping, you're really looking for a business owner that's trying to grow and trying to move forward with their business, right? Because if you think about it, $1,000 a month is about $12,000 per year. So someone has to be able to not only make this in revenue, but also have it in profit to where they can just freely go and spend it, right? A lot of times, like if you're having trouble getting people to pay your price points, it's either because you're dealing with people that are cheap or dealing with people that are just too small. Like think about it. So if someone is doing, we'll say they're doing about 100K per year in revenue for their business, right? Let's say it's like an online e-commerce business, they do 100K. It's very hard for them to pay you $12,000 and not feel it. I'll give you an example why. Oftentimes with e-commerce, the net margins for like some of the top stores are about between 25 to about 35%. We'll say 30% on average. So if $100,000, they have to do 30%, that is before taxes and depreciation, right? So we're going to assume that, off that net profit, maybe they have another, we'll say like, probably about, I'll just do 10% just for straight math, right? It's going to be more, and plus it's not counting state, right? So let's just say that they're going to have to pay like $5K in taxes. So that means that they're left with about $25,000 in net profit. If they have to pay you $12,000 or $1,000 a month, that means for the whole entire year off of $25,000, all they made was about $13,000 in net profit. Now, I don't know about you, but my bills are more than $13,000 a year. So that just wouldn't really, work for me, right? If I was at that size and I was trying to like bring on someone for $1,000 a month. Now, That's not to say they can't do it, but it's just more than likely they won't do it because they're going to prioritize themselves. Versus, let's say they're doing with a business owner that's doing, $1 million per year. Okay, so we'll do the same number, 30% net profit. What is that? That is $300,000. We'll say that they paid $5,000 to $6,000 in taxes. Okay, so we'll say it's gonna be a little bit more than that. What is that? 300. We'll do 300,000 times. Come on. Let's do like 0.25. Okay, so about 7,500. My mental math was amazing today. Okay, so 300,000 minus 7,500. That's about $292,000 they can play around with, right? So if they pay you $12,000 out of that, I mean, they have $280,000 left to play around with, right? To do whatever they want, to go buy a car, go buy a boat, go take their family on all the vacations they want, etc., 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 right? So that's why you want to go after the right size clients. Now, another thing to kind of drive this point home, the first time that I really understood the power of a small audience was one of my students in my mentorship program. His name was JT. He was doing $12,000 per month with only 336 Facebook followers. I was like, wait, what? Because I didn't track his followers. We were just talking like he was getting clients. He showed me his revenue and stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. How many followers do you have on Facebook? Should we be making content yet? He's like, oh yeah, I have 336. Like, what? You made that much money from that small of an audience? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. Okay, like it didn't make sense to me at the time. But looking back, it's like, oh, it makes total sense. The way we're going about getting like the leads into his following was just it's a methodology we teach on Facebook about like how to go and get like the right clients to like raise their hand and basically like want to work with you, but then by the time that they actually like follow you on social media, they already basically want to work with you. So you don't quite need that many. You're just getting the right ones. So yeah, it was really cool, and like it's always eye opening when you see something that you've been thinking about, but you can't like externalize, like you can't say it when it actually comes true. Now it's like, oh, that makes sense. That's why it works, right? So yeah, so the second thing that's important is that the things you try to do to grow faster in a spastic manner end up just wasting time. I'll give you a good example. So. Sometimes as business owners, we get in a hurry. Now, I'm not saying like if you don't have a strategy, don't have a plan or something like that, that take your time. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like there's a difference between moving quick and in a hurry. Let's say for example I'm playing basketball. I want to be able, if I know where I'm going, right? There's the basketball hoops in front of me, one defender. I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go straight at him, right? I'm gonna move quick. Because I'm in control, I'm moving forward, I'm going definitively towards my path and towards the place I'm supposed to be. However, in some cases, the defender might scare you or might put a lot of pressure on you or might make you move faster than what you want to do, and the defender is making you go where they want you to go, and you feel like you're in a hurry. Okay? So in life, I want to be quick and definitive. I do not want the circumstances of life, the competition, clients to speed me up and get me in a hurry. Okay? So I'll give you an example of life. So let's say that you're starting your business, right? You have a full-time job, and then maybe you go on vacation, you're inspired. You're like, okay, I want to go to this vacation. Okay? I want to do this vacation forever. So in my business, in order for me to go on vacation every single month, I need to make an extra $3,000 to $5,000 a month. Okay, let me try doing this, and this. None of them end up working. You just wasted an extra 3 to 6 months. You're frustrated, you're confused, now you're upset, and you're more likely to quit, right? By doing less marketing and focusing on better prospects and getting your name out there to the right people, you're going to move a lot faster. I'll give you an example. One of my students in my mentorship program, Jeff Lindley, so when he was starting, the first thing I said, hey man, so all we're going to be doing for this first couple weeks is just identifying what is your superpower. What do you do that either no one else can do or no one else does quite as good as you? And then based on that, that is going to be the only marketing method we're going to do. For him, it was virtual networking. So learning how to actually get like around the right people online. So the cool thing is like some people want to do like in-person networking. I don't mind in-person networking if I'm either good at talking to people or if I just have the time to do so. If I don't really have the time to do so, then online networking can be a little bit harder for some people, especially like if you're working a full-time job and you can't just like take a break during like 11 o'clock for like a networking event. Yeah, that can be tough. But in this particular case, he was doing virtual networking, so he didn't really have to leave his house. Now, he was like, man, is there something I can do to move faster? I was like, no. Certainty is more important than speed, okay? Because in this business model, and this is kind of a really, really contrary business model than I think a lot of people understand, right? With tax prep, you want to move fast because you want to get as many clients as possible, more of a volume game. This game, when you're trying to sell high-ticket monthly accounting or monthly bookkeeping, it's more of a pricing game, right? So if I can go after the right clients, I can essentially make 5 times as much progress by going after a client that is going to pay me $2,500 a month as if I got a bunch of clients that are paying me like $500 a month, right? So it only takes me 1 client to get to $2,500 versus taking me like 5 at $500 a month. So I just move 5 times as fast, not by getting 5 times the clients, but by 5xing my price and finding a relevant person that could really handle the price point I was charging. So it's not always about moving fast in this kind of game. It's about moving correctly. That's also one reason why this business model can be a little bit discouraging for some people. Because if you're used to trying to brute force everything and you can't brute force your way through this, or else you kind of run into a trap, it kind of makes it harder. But if you understand this principle and you do know what you're doing and what a good sized client looks like, you can grow your business. So he made it to about $8,700 a month in about 5 months of doing the right things, right? And the first month he didn't even get a client, right? Because we're setting up his foundations. We're getting everything ready. We're moving things forward. Now, that's not always happen. Some students will get clients like really quickly. Some students might take a little bit more, like 30 days. It just kind of depends on the person. So there's not really like some people are like, well, what's the shortest amount of time that I could do to get a client? It's like that's not really the right way to think about this business, right? Remember, you're starting a business. You're starting something that's going to feed your family for like the next like 10 to 15 years for some people. Some people it might be 5 if like you're close to retirement, but for some people, think of like this thing is going to be supporting you for the next 10 to 15 years. Is it okay if you don't get your first client a month? I would hope so. Shoot, I would give up 5 months of income if I had a job. I don't have a job. Okay, first thing, get a part-time job, bare minimum, so you have some money coming in. But assuming I have some money coming in, if it's more just a frustration thing where it's like I'm upset that I didn't get a client for the first, let's say you started your business for like 90 days, you get a client, but you knew that like if you can stick it out for a year, then you'd be good for like the next 120 months. I'll give up 3 to get 120. I mean, think about it. If you do 120 months times $10,000 like net profit, 120 times $10,000, that is $1.2 million. Now, I don't know exactly what you have in the bank now. Maybe you already have a couple $1 million in the bank. Maybe if you're watching this video, you might not, right? So let's say that you do, or let's say you don't. An extra $1.2 million in the bank, that is about $100,000 per year in investment income coming in, except for like the years when the market goes negative. But for most years when it's positive, that's gonna be about $100,000 or more per year. That's meaningful money, right? So that's worth it to me, right? It's all about certainty. Now, next thing is that I learned very early that I didn't really have to be the cheapest in order to get my business off the ground, right? It kind of goes back to step number 2. It's not always about getting more or moving faster. Sometimes it's about doing it correctly and getting things right. So if I charged the right prices that were proportional to the clients I was speaking to, it ended up being a lot better, and I got better quality clients, and it was way easier to grow the business. Now, here's the thing. If you sell $300 a month to someone because it's proportional to the value or the amount of work, like, okay, so let's say that it's going to take you like 1 hour worth of work. Okay, $300 for that. I'd probably want to get $500 for an hour worth of work, but like if you can do $300 and you're just starting out, not a bad deal. The problem is that, if you're selling something for $300 a month, but it should have been $3,000 a month, right? That's the challenging thing. Now, if you don't know how to price or how to even like understand like what is the true value of the work that you're doing, or like what is proportional value, then I would probably invite you to go on our mentorship program so I can actually walk you through how to like price things out, right? But assuming that you do, right, and that could be a big ask. That's a problem most people have. But let's just hypothetically say that you do know how to price it out, right? Choosing to work with someone that is going to be a haggler or someone that's a discount hunter is really the thing that's going to cause you to struggle short term and midterm, right? Because those are the people, like especially the ones that are really cheap, those are the ones that are the first one to leave. Like every like let's say like top of the year, oh, I found someone cheaper, or oh, I want to try my different options. It's like you've been doing things perfectly, you guys have been working well, you thought they were going to stay with you for like the next 10 years, then all of a sudden they find someone cheaper and they're gone, right? Now, one of our students, Joanna, she actually was having something similar. So before she started working with me, she was doing about $800 a month, right? And she had a bunch of clients. Some were paying her like $150 a month, some paying her $100, some paying her $300. She was just having trouble getting people like either stay with her or even like pay more money because she knew that she was undercharging for a lot of those clients. But since she was dealing with a lot of people that were very price sensitive or very cheap, we call them cheap or price sensitive, right? Price sensitive if you're trying to be fancy. Cheap if you're, just keeping it real. So the first thing we do is say, okay, so here's how you would identify what a cheap person looks like. Here are the characteristics. Here's what they do. Here's what they say. Are they asking for discounts? Are they looking for guarantees? Are they looking to get something for nothing? Are they looking to get the highest level of service but not really put anything in? Are they lazy, right? You can kind of like tell, right? So if you notice those things, like, hey, maybe this just isn't the best fit for me, or if I can do it before we get on the consultation call, if I can understand, decipher who is who, I don't even have to take a consultation call with someone. If I know, like, there's a high likelihood this person is not going to buy from me, in the beginning, I would have taken all the calls I could, because I thought that, you take as many sales calls as you possibly can, you're going to objection handle people, and then you're going to be able to cause people to do what you need them to do to make some money. It's like, yes and no. I'd rather just spend my time with people that can afford to pay me. So if someone can't afford to pay me, I will generally cancel a call with them, tell them, hey, here's some other resource, or here's something that might be a better fit for you in the moment, like maybe a cheaper accountant, a cheaper bookkeeper. But I gotta conserve my time. I would literally rather do nothing than put myself on a call with someone that can't afford to pay me. And here's a weird thing why. Because in the beginning and just during your career, it's all about like learning to keep your emotional state high. Now I know that sounds like wimpy. It's like, what do you mean you're my emotional state high? It's like, yeah, you don't want to like be like just dragging, because then like if you get like 5 people that are broke in a row, it's like, oh no, maybe we're in a recession. It's like we're like let's say it's like the most booming economy ever. It's like, oh no, we're in a recession. I think people are losing their jobs, so it's just like all because you're just hearing the negativity of people that maybe either don't want to pay or can't pay. Right, so it kind of gets into your psyche. Now, the shorter your business career has been, the more susceptible you are to those like negative thought patterns and those like things that kind of come in your mind. Right, so you have to protect your space, protect your time as much as possible. Now, knowing if someone can pay can be as simple as putting like a qualification form when someone books a call. Now, if you have a form, like let's say you have like a Calendly or a Schedule Once, and like just people just aren't willing to pay out your form. Okay, we might have to do some stuff there. Like that means you just don't really have enough respect or authority from the people that are watching, right? Because usually if someone respects you or like says, "Oh, I like this person," or they look up to you, they'll follow whatever steps are needed in order to kind of get things like moving, get things done. However, if they don't, they'll be like, "Oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the resource, I don't have the X, Y, Z." It's just like, oh, oh man. So that's the big thing in life. Cool. And then the final thing is the longer you stay in the game, the easier it gets. Now, this is just because like you get better. Your skill sets are amazing the longer you stay in the game. The market starts to know you. People that previously told you it wasn't a good time or wasn't a good fit change their mind and come back. You develop a reputation, so you start getting referrals, and then you start creating longevity, all while building wealth in the process, right? So it's like even if you were to like lose money, like maybe you did a bad investment, or maybe you took a year off, or maybe you did 6 months, like you can always just keep staying back in the game, just keep doing the stuff that works. If you do the stuff that works, your business will keep working. If you stop doing the stuff that works, your business will go back down. But if you stop doing what works for maybe a season or maybe like 3 months, it's like, oh, you catch yourself like, oh, hey, I stopped doing this thing. This is what was getting me results. Let me go back and do that. Your business kind of goes back up and your growth rate continues, right? So it's like you are really in control. And when you have a business, you're really putting yourself in control of your life and in your future. Now, the first step is really getting help. most people, if you're watching this video, don't really have the adequate skill set to grow a business. So I'm not saying like maybe you don't know how to do accounting, or maybe you don't know how to do bookkeeping. Maybe you're watching this and you haven't learned bookkeeping yet. That's okay. But let's say that you spend your entire life learning accounting or learning bookkeeping. That does not mean that you are naturally going to be good at business. I've actually seen that in a lot of cases. Out the box, when I say out the box, people who are starting the business, the better you are technically, the worse you are at sales and marketing. And the reason why is because you're going to be speaking at too high of a level that people actually care or understand. And you can't break it down to the, simple enough terms for everyone in like a wide audience to really understand and even like connect with. So if you've either been struggling at getting clients, or maybe you've been thinking about starting this business, but there's so much stuff that's in front of you that's stopping you from starting. If you want help in either of those positions, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program, okay? Basically, our goal is to really help you create a life of like freedom, peace, and joy, to where, you have the freedom to do what you want, where you want, when you want, with who you want, okay? That's number one. Number two, I want you to be at peace. So you don't have to worry about money. You don't have to worry about the economy, the president, anything. And then really be joyful. Just a solid state of this is the life that you carved out for yourself and the hard work paid off. So if you want some help accomplishing your goals, maybe you want to spend some more time with your family, or maybe even go and travel a bit more, click the link inside the description, above or below the video. Book a call with myself. Let's see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program, okay? I will talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your day. Take it easy.
Break.